Welcome, everyone, to the LYC Media Podcast Studio for the LYC Alumni Podcast. I am joined here with a guest, an alumni member from 2020. Remember that year? Yep. We are talking to none other than Gabe Max. Gabe, how are you?
Good, Daska. How are you?
Fantastic. It's great to see you again. You came in last year and spoke to some of the students as well about your experiences. But I tell you what, Gabe, it's great to have you in this booth because it's one-on-one and we are going to get into some big detail about what you've been up to.
Good. I'm really excited. It's great to be here.
Thank you. Now, when you were at school, first question. Right now, let's talk about what you're up to now. What are you up to yourself right now? Give us the lowdown. Since you finished Yavneh, what happened?
So since I finished Yavneh, I went on a B'nai Akiva gap year. So I spent a year in Israel. It was more like 7 months because of COVID. I came back. I went to university. I studied law and commerce. And then I took about a year break in the middle of it between 2024 and 2025 to move to New York and speech write for Israel at the United Nations.
Wow.
And now I'm back here in Melbourne and back at university. I'm a part-time paralegal and I'm trying to graduate as soon as possible.
Wow. Now let's just rewind for a sec. Wait. Hang on. I've got a sound effect for this. Did you just say you wrote for the UN? We know that. But yeah, let's go on to that. What exactly, wow, that's a pretty big deal.
It was a real privilege to be able to do it. It was all very much by chance. I went over to New York for an internship at the Israeli mission to the UN. So the way it works is, for the listeners, is the UN is itself a separate body, but it's also made up of the 193 member states. So that's basically every country around the world, Israel being one of them. And so I went for an internship at the Israeli mission to the United Nations, and I was fortunate to be asked to stay in a full-time position as the senior and sole speechwriter.
Wow. So that's how you got your first opportunity to do that.
Exactly.
What does a speechwriter for a country at the UN actually do day to day?
I always say that speechwriter is the most simple title in the world because it is literally all that you do. You write speeches. It is all very much in the job description. Obviously, as you might know, Israel is one of the more talked about countries in the world, and that's all the more true at the UN. So there are a lot of speeches that need to be delivered both by our ambassador and then also by the senior diplomats. So I would spend my day writing speeches, and part of that process is researching, it's discussing and communicating with other members of the communications team, with the people who will deliver the speech, so whether that's a senior diplomat or the ambassador himself, and then kind of getting that cleared with headquarters in Jerusalem if necessary. That's how I would spend all my days.
So, did you, from when you were in school, did you ever participate in the Vonnies?
I did.
So you could say it's like being in the Vonnie Coopersmiths. No. Did you think that the Vonnies helped you in a way?
No, it's like being.
You loved debating back then. I remember in class, whenever I
loved it.
said you've got to get this done by the end of the lesson, you'd be like, "No, I am not doing that, Mr. D." You'd be like, "No, can you do it?" Like, I am going to give you a speech as to why I shouldn't do my work. No, you're a good kid. No.
Thank you. No, it's like being the parent that writes the kids' Vonnie.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah. So
they're like, Gabe, we need a speech for tomorrow. We haven't organized it. Can you do our homework for us? And you're like, sure.
Basically.
Wow. How many pages per, depends on the speech, would you say?
Yeah, it always depended on the speech. So some speeches were like time bound when you deliver them from the General Assembly podium. So when you see some of the speeches from the big, beautiful green iconic background, the big hall, sometimes they would be capped. You could only deliver them for 3 or 5 minutes and then they would cut off your mic.
Right.
But if you would deliver in the Security Council, which is where most of the speeches were delivered, you could go for as long as you wanted. And usually we'd give about a 10 or 15 minute speech.
So what's the pressure knowing that your words, what you've written down, is going to go global on a global stage? What did you ever? What was the first speech you wrote?
The first speech I wrote was for the previous ambassador who I was only there for the first month I was there, Ambassador Gilad Erdan. It was a funny story. I went there as an intern, like I said, But when I got there, they told me that the speechwriter I was supposed to be interning for had actually just left, and they had someone out of house contracted to be writing the speeches.
Wow.
And so they said, look, you're just going to be more like an administrative intern, which I was fine to do. I was going to go on to exchange at the University of Leeds after, and I was very happy to be young and free and in New York. So anyway, I was in the break room, and the deputy ambassador, a lovely, incredibly talented man named Jonathan Miller from South Africa, came up to me and said, look, I know you wanted to write speeches. I know you like to write. So we've got an emergency security council session in a couple of days. Why don't you have a go at a practice speech, and maybe I'll try and sneak in a few of your lines so you can kind of see that play out on the stage. And I said, thank you so much.
Did you put in any movie lines like at the end, and may the force be with you?
I used to try to sneak.
I am the Senate. I know Benji would have loved that.
Benji would have loved it.
Benji would have told you, just put in, I am the Senate.
Yeah.
I'm like, we're the UN, not the Senate. Anyway, sorry, I've got to make a joke of this, but yeah, I'm not. So that's pretty full on, yeah.
I try to sneak in Seinfeld references.
Oh, wow. Like which ones?
I can't. You know what? I genuinely can't remember, but I think I got one in, and I can't even remember what it was. I can go back into my computer.
Oh, that's hilarious. Nah, you got to let me know.
But
oh, wow.
I can.
What is the point of airline food? Oh, wow. The sea was angry that day, my friends. Yeah. Okay, now, so continue. Sorry.
Anyway, no. So I was writing that. So he gave me a chance to write kind of like a fake stump speech. Not even a stump speech. Just like literally just like a fake speech on this particular incident that had happened in Gaza. Anyway, I wrote the speech and they liked it, so they just ended up using the speech. And then from then, I just kind of wrote the speeches.
Wow. What changed for you after October 7? Were you writing speeches at that time?
No. I was head of the AZYC on October 7th. So the AZYC is like the Australasian Zionist Youth Council. So it's like the roof body for all the youth movements up in Akiva, Hub and Dror. So there was a bit of, that was where my mind and my responsibilities were at the time. I was trying to, because it was so devastating, obviously, and everyone was so distraught, and, no one was sleeping. I couldn't sleep. I tried to just kind of throw myself into that. And in terms of how I changed, I'm fundamentally different. I think like many people, I'm in my soul, a very different human being. My entire outlook, not only on Israel and the conflict, but also of the world and its relationship with world Jewry and anti-Semitism.
Yeah,
the fact that all it takes is a massacre of Jews to reintroduce, mainstream anti-Semitism, and the after effects of that kind of manifestation has completely shifted the way I see. And also, it was absolutely the motivating factor for me to go over to New York and do that internship in the first place, because there's such a feeling of helplessness being a diaspora Jew outside of Israel, where you see your brothers and sisters being, fighting for their country, and you feel like, what can I do? Yeah. And so I felt like, maybe this was a little bit of something that I could do. Obviously, nowhere near the scale.
But
Israelis.
with Yavneh, I remember I've been to many Zaya camps, and we were on one together.
Yeah.
Do you think that obviously your Yavneh experience helped you into that, your identity and all that? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yavneh can take as much credit for my passion and identity as any other factor in my life, my family and my youth movements. Yavneh is where my love for Israel and my love for my people was nurtured and kind of like expounded upon, where I could kind of explore the different avenues of what that means, have it challenged and shaped in different ways at such a critical age. Yavneh was absolutely instrumental for that. But more than my identity was also my knowledge, is that Yavneh actually created the space for me to be able to learn so that I could do a job like I did.
Yeah. Wow. Which leads me to what motivated you to pursue law after your experience at the UN?
So I was in law school before I went to the UN. This was kind of like, I went there, I was going to do exchange instead of this, but I think what's motivated me to stay in law since that is that, the law is kind of like the engine that drives society, and you can't separate the law from social interactions, from the relationship between people and between groups, and so that's kind of like we see with with the introduction of hate speech laws post the Bondi massacre. That's going to continue to play a significant role, and so I think it's necessary to kind of like have a good grounded knowledge of the law.
What particular part of the law are you looking at mainly?
Honestly, I don't know.
Because I don't mind Law and Order. I've seen A Few Good Men, and when that basically what I'm saying is this: when I watch Law and Order, I'm like, yeah, I kind of know what's going to happen in this. I can solve it, and then I end up getting probably 80% of the cases. So, is there a spot for me at ABL?
Without a doubt.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
And like I said, when you were in class, and I remember your English teachers as well, they would say Gabe is really debating a lot. So this is perfect for you, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't like doing that homework, but I'm joking. During 2020, we did have the COVID year and your year level, and that was different for all of us. Me as a teacher that year trying to teach BC media online, and as a student, I couldn't even imagine having all these different teachers through a screen, the resilience that year level had, and look at you now. Big muzzles to you.
Thanks, Daska.
I don't know if you know as much as Benji with Star Wars, though.
He's got me on it, but I know enough.
You know enough. Now, what does representing Israel? What did representing Israel on an international stage mean for you personally?
It meant the world.
Not everyone can turn around and say, I wrote speeches for the UN. It's pretty huge.
Yeah, thank you. It really did mean the world. I miss it very much. I should also just really highlight, and I'm sure we're going to get to it later, but also I was doing that with 2 other Yavneh graduates.
Yes, well, we're going to discuss that, and
which
it was Zoe Brash and Dahlia Panath, yeah?
Zoe Brash and Dahlia Panath. So Zoe Brash had already been there for a good couple of years when I arrived. She's actually the whole reason, getting the internship itself, not getting the internship, but the process of getting to New York after being accepted into the internship was a real pain. I was the first Australian that was going to come there for a couple of years, and nobody really knew how to process it.
There she is there. There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
That is a pretty impressive image.
Yeah. So that was, anyway, I have Zoe to thank and be so grateful for literally like my entire experience there. She was like half my support system.
We have to get her on here one day.
Really good.
Zoom her through 100%. Yeah.
She was like half my support system, and then Dahlia came and like added to that as well and was like unbelievable. And Dahlia and I literally grew up together like as thick as thieves. But
shout out to Dahlia.
Shout out to Dahlia. Yeah. But yeah, Zoe was like my total savior there. And she really like helped me hit the ground running and stay sane with like a really hectic job.
That Yavneh connection there.
That Yavneh connection.
Yeah,
like,
and you're on the look at that stage. Yavneh graduates standing there. I remember I saw it on Jewish News, and I couldn't believe it. It's amazing. But
thank you.
Let's talk about a bit more about Yav. What are your strongest memories from your time at school? Like, what's one highlight that you remember about Yav?
I always loved the taste of summer.
We did that last week. Yeah,
I heard it took up an entire lesson.
It took up all of period 6 last week. Yeah, all of period 6, and it was a giant water fight. But yeah.
So we used to do it in lunchtime.
Yeah.
And I always that was always absolutely my highlight. Yavneh Purim.
Yep.
Was goated.
That's coming up.
Genuinely, I don't think there's like anything can match.
You guys did Purim.
That was like the last. It was like the next day.
It was, yeah.
Into lockdown.
What was your theme? Was it Willy Wonka?
No. It was Nintendo.
Ah, perfect.
It was good.
It was. It was great.
We all stayed like that. It was a really early year for Purim too, like this year. So we all like stayed back every night after school till like midnight.
And if we only knew, like, we were living, like, what was coming, it was surreal. The next day when that press conference came on, it was like, we'll be locked down and everyone right to go. I don't want to hear those words.
No, my God, traumatic. No, it's like that scene, like, before like a tsunami hits the...
Yes.
Like 2012. It was terrible.
It was like, yeah. Now, what did you enjoy most... Well, yeah, you mentioned Purim, but what was like your favorite subject, would you say?
Okay. My favorite subject throughout all of school, and still is my favorite subject, is history.
Uh-huh.
And Mr. G was my history revolutions teacher in Year 12.
Mr. G! Mr. G!
Perfect sound effect.
He's actually on our footy podcast. He's a Melbourne supporter, and he will be very... You know what? Well done, Mr. G.
Well done, Mr. G.
Gets a mention there. That is fantastic. A history teacher. And
He was
what do you
the
remember?
best. I remember we had this. Okay, he taught me in year 11 when I did like history 1, 2, and then year 12 when I did history 3, 4. We used to have a competition in class called the Joey. We had Joey Selesnikoff in my class in year 11, and he was like 20 minutes late. Joey, shout out. He's working at the embassy in Canberra now.
Wow.
And he was like 20 minutes late to every class. So it was actually genius of him. We would all get to class like 5 minutes early because he would make it a competition called the Joey, where whoever was late to class was the Joey. And they'd essentially just get, roasted the entire class. So nobody wanted to be the Joey. And that class would start genuinely 5 minutes early every single day.
Wow.
So it was actually a really smart incentive to put in place. And then year 12, like he made the Zoom classes so fun.
Yeah.
Like we had a WhatsApp group, and he was just like the best. Mr. G was really, really awesome.
Mr. G was awesome. But I mean, if there had to, what was one teacher that you have to have an impact on everything from Yav to the UN to the law firm to the law and order to everything, right? There's one person at Yav that just you're locked in like, yep, that's the person who inspired me forever. Who is that going to be?
Dr. Michael Cohen, my religion and society teacher.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that.
You knew I was going to say that?
Yeah. But there's got to be another teacher. Yeah, someone. Yeah,
it's you, Daska.
I was going to say there's another Michael. So yeah, there we go. Thank you. Well, all right. No, Dr. Doc, he's still here. Tell us why.
So I did RNS 3-4 in year 11, and firstly, I still look at it differently. It made me look at religion differently and its interaction with society differently, and I still do. I still kind of like have that. And I remember him telling us at the beginning of the year that you might start thinking like that, and then I did, and then it's like it really has kind of seriously framed the way I look at things in a lot of ways, and that's only possible when you have a teacher who is just like fundamentally passionate and engaging and interesting and kind and wonderful. He's
got a great sense of humor too.
He's hilarious.
He's hilarious.
He wrote us a song at the end of the year, and I had one school captaincy, and that was what my line was about, and I'll never forget it. He was just an incredibly awesome man. Like his stories were amazing. They related so well to the thing. You have teachers who are very focused on like getting my students to do the best.
Yeah.
And I loved those teachers, and I loved them, especially in school, because I wanted to do as well as possible. And then you kind of get to like 5 years out of school, and you have the teachers who are just like, also, I just want to make sure you actually learn.
Yeah.
And that this actually like kind of, carries with you throughout throughout your life journey. And Doc was more of the latter, and more than I think anyone, I still kind of recall those classes. They were fun. They were engaging. His stories were wonderful. He was patient and he was understanding. And I miss being in his classes a lot.
Seeing you from year 7 all the way up and now sitting here, it's pretty funny and it's surreal, but looking at that image, it's fantastic, Gabe. But the last thing we need to bring up is, what is your one message you want to give to Yavneh students now? So let's just say, could be a year 7, 8, 9, 10, but maybe it's like a year 10 kid getting ready to get into VCE. What's your message?
I've got 2 messages. The first message is that, and it's a very classic message, that these next couple of years I just aren't going to define your life path. There is so much between now and the rest of your life that even you can make a very terrible mistake, and you can recover quite easily and have that not really affect anything at all, by the time you're my age, or even like 30 years old, or whatever, however old you'll be. So I want you to kind of experiment, try out different things, explore different pathways. You actually have a wonderful gift right now, being in high school, where you have these massive resources around you that you kind of like, that are like compulsorily around you all the time. You have the library, you have amazing teachers, you have people who are like so passionate about education, they've made it their life, who are here to help you. If you want to learn something, you have every opportunity to learn it now. And learning is the most wonderful thing that you can do. And the second message, which kind of runs on from that, is learn about your people, learn about your history, learn about the situation that your people are in right now, because you are going to be confronted with a world that just didn't exist 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. It's not the world your parents grew up in. It's not the world I grew up in. It's not the world Daska grew up in. So arm yourself with knowledge and understanding of all sides and all perspectives, so you can go out there, be strong in yourself, and make a difference in the lives of your fellow Jews.
Make that change. I want to say thanks.
Daska,
Thank you so much.
thank you so much for having me. It was so good to see you.
We will debrief again next time with Zoe, maybe.
I'm so keen.
Thank you, Gabe. Catch up.